Hello and welcome to, I think it's actually the first of our two-day demonstration day, COPTRZ CON. Really excited. We've been working on this really hard for the last couple of months. But today it is the first one. We're kicking off with DJI's M300. So thank you very much for joining us. Just going to be looking at questions as well at the end. So if you've got any, stick them in the chat or the questions tab on the right of your screen. I'm really fortunate to be joined by Harry Crawford as well, one of our trainers here at COPTRZ. And we're actually going to be going through the M300s, how it's used, some applications, and then obviously the training on it as well and what's required to actually operate the M300 successfully. Harry, do you just want to say hello and make sure that we can all hear you?
Yeah, so hi guys, I'm Harry. I'm one of the instructors here at COPTRZ. So my kind of day-to-day role is doing a lot of the training for the GVC, the A2 CFC, helping you guys through that. And then I also do quite a lot of demonstration work, a lot of coaching work, and some of the handovers as well. So I get quite a lot of time using the M300, which is great.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Yeah, no, we're really excited actually. You know, the whole premise of COPTRZ CON is purely because we can't get out there and see you all. We can't do these demonstrations. So to put on a bit of a demo to show you, you know, world-leading drone equipment and processes from the comfort of your own home, where you are safe and legally allowed to watch, is brilliant. So hats off to everybody involved from our marketing team all the way through. It's been really good to see this evolve into what it is. So without further ado, Harry, if you're ready, I think we should kick off and go straight for it. Sound good?
Yes, let's crack on.
Fantastic. I'll just maximize that. Hope everyone can see. If everybody could stick in the chat that you can hear us, that you can see us, that would be really useful for ourselves. But as we say, today we're looking at the M300 and mastering that for the likes of inspections. Now we're going to go over a little bit of the new cameras as well, but it's going to be mainly to do with the inspection side of drones. So just a little bit of housekeeping. Just as I said, if you've got any questions or you just want to, you know, bring up some points with your fellow watchers from around the country, you can do that on the right. Really good interaction platform and portal, and we've actually had people communicate from there, and then after the webinars, which is great, which is great to see, because collaboration, especially in a new industry like drones, is truly is a remarkable thing. So what we'll cover today, we've actually got a little bit on the drone inspection industry. Me and Harry are going to discuss, you know, a couple of applications that we have seen and we've personally been really interested in over the course of the last sort of, you know, 12, 24 months, and have really come into fruition over the last 6. We're going to talk obviously about the M300 RTK, which is why everybody is here. We're going to actually show a live demonstration. So this is on the right. It was a blistering day in Leeds, beautiful, and we actually set off from a roof terrace in the centre of Leeds. Harry flew. We had Duncan there, one of our head of training, myself and Haley, one of our marketing team, and we were looking at the roof, both with the visual and the thermal camera, which we will touch upon later on. So truly a really nice area to fly. A lot better than when you have to trudge in the middle of nowhere. And Harry, I think you can agree with me there. Especially on wet days, it can be a long afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a nice afternoon.
Really nice. So we'll also look at this system, some of the key features which are now sort of coming into very popular with the M300s. And then also we'll look at a couple of packages. We want to keep it as entertaining, as educational as possible. But obviously, you know, the pricing element is obviously a big thing that people will ask about. So just stick that out there. We'll wait till the end. And then obviously all those questions, my glamorous assistant, Haley, who you can't see, is just off shot, will be asking the questions. Yeah, she loved that. And we'll be going through anything that we haven't covered, and you just have some maybe some application questions, questions on specs, stuff that you just want us to clarify, and we'll try our best to answer them in full. So some of the current customers that we're currently working with, that we're proud to sort of partner with here in the UK, who are really championing drone usage, especially from my area of expertise being in the utilities and the inspection side of the world, the likes of Thames Water, Texo, Magnox, who are using drones fantastically, Severn Trent, who have been a trailblazer in the industry for a long time, Yorkshire Water on our doorstep, great guys, great team, great setup up there, and even EDF, who a huge multinational company, huge organization, and now looking at the use of drones and have been for the last 12 months. Harry, have you had any really good experiences recently doing demonstrations or going and doing the training? Because a big part of your sort of area of expertise is going onto site, introducing yourself to these teams and actually going through how to fly, not so much what a drone can do, but how to get the best of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're always kind of going down and doing the bespoke kind of courses. So we'll be going down, delivering the GVC course, but trying to tailor it a little bit more to the company itself. So we can run through kind of how their operations manual works, any sort of internal processes that they need to go through, and really tailor it to that company. I mean, we work with loads of guys across the UK doing that sort of thing, but I think what's the most kind of inspirational and exciting thing is just the different ways that they're all being used. Every company that we go to, they've got a different use case, and they're just using this equipment to really enhance their processes, which is really exciting.
I couldn't agree more. I had this conversation, I think I have it pretty much every day, that there seems to be a new scenario or a new application that drones are being used for. And if it's from the likes of deer counting to, wind farm inspection or even internal blade inspection, there's always these new cool applications which you may not have heard of, and it's sort of that melting pot. People come together, collaborate, and really start to develop new ways, as you say. So the industry is currently using drones. I mean, where we're sort of focusing on with the M300, there is a big application for the likes of search and rescue, and Harry will go out and do a lot with the police forces. But for the inspection side of things, the onshore, offshore oil and gas, power gen, obviously with the likes of the utility side, they obviously go hand in hand. Construction now with the likes of the L1, the P1, and obviously that thermography camera, the H20T, has a really great application for high precision accuracy in terms of mapping. Utilities I've already mentioned, but looking at the likes of mapping out new sewers or even culvert inspection. We had a really cool application where they were trying to meander a river so that there was going to be less fall away basically in the river. And what they were doing is they were using drones to map that new process out. And then obviously the maintenance side, and we'll see that a lot of the time with your day-to-day jobs, where it is either like a roof inspection, a chimney inspection, mast inspection, stuff like that, where you're going up and you're looking at the integrity of the asset or the building, looking for wear and tear, finding, if there has been any damage after a storm or a lightning strike. And it's using the likes of drones, which are being brought in to speed that process up, but also make it safer as well. So the main man, the M300 RTK, Harry, just before we go any further, what was your initial, sort of your thoughts from both flying it to training with it? Give me a bit of give me your feelings on it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, when it was first announced, I was really, really excited about it. And I wasn't disappointed when I first got out to fly it. So the first kind of demonstration we did was all with the police. So we invited them up to our location up in Leeds. We did a quick demonstration with it, showed them the capabilities of the HT2 camera. And obviously, it's got loads of really useful applications within public safety. But what was really exciting to see is how using essentially the same product with the same payload, you can also utilize it for loads of different inspection uses. So in terms of a package, it's something which is so complete across so many different industries, just allows it to be really kind of utilized in loads of great different ways. And I think for that reason, it's probably one of my favorite drones out on the market at the minute.
Yeah, it's the multi-use, multi-purpose is, it really is, because you can buy a sort of a £5-6 drone and it'll have a single application. But when you buy a system, which is essentially the workhorse, the vehicle, you then buy different payloads and utilize different payloads to get different data. And that's where we're going to see the likes of the L1, the U10 to capture all those different things. But I mean, straight away for me, the big thing, obviously the IP rating. You obviously got that laser rangefinder with the H20, but then also the full-time radiometric. But the biggest thing for me is the flight time. I mean, without payload, you're talking 55 minutes. With the H20C, you're talking about 45. So, Harry, from your experience, what does that mean for a user? What does that mean in terms of an application, going out and doing a job?
I mean, it just makes it so much easier, especially when you're doing things like 3D mapping or inspections of really large objects. It's really difficult when you have to kind of interrupt that, land the aircraft, swap the batteries over, get it back up in the air, and it just adds so much time into the actual inspection itself. And I think obviously having that extended range just gives you a lot more freedom on the type of work that you can do with the aircraft. But I think one thing we can mention as well is about the hot swappable batteries.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that. Yeah, you beat me to it.
I mean, absolutely incredible feature. I think everyone will have been through the pain of having to bring their aircraft down, shut it off, kind of re-inspect it again, change the batteries over, and it just takes up loads of time. Whereas now you can literally leave the aircraft running, take one battery out, put a new one back in, do the same on the other side, and it's back in the air within kind of 30 seconds. It's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it doesn't have to go through that whole process of connecting it to the control, getting all the system up and ready. You basically just go straight from there. So if anyone's unsure on what they actually look like, the H20 series, it comes in two systems. H20 with the 20 times optical zoom, 20 meg sensor. It comes with the wider lens as well. So a really cool and useful application. I found this when we were doing that inspection the other day, is when you're zooming in on something and you just want to double check exactly what, and especially if you're a single pilot, you just want to double check exactly where you are, exactly what you're actually looking at in a wider picture. You can just swap to that camera and then you've got that wider angle. So for the likes of, if you do take a single photo, it captures both the visual and the wide lens, which in a practical sense, whatever you're looking at and zooms right in, you can use the wider lens to zoom back into that and then find exactly what you're looking at, which is, really useful. And then obviously on the right there, you see, I hope it's on the right, I hope it hasn't come through swapped, but on the right, you see the H20T with the I've got a thumbs up, happy days. Got the thermal camera on there as well. Which is top of the range 640 radiometric camera, which is tremendous. We'll show you some really good footage from that coming up. We did mention briefly there the environmental side of it. So the IP rating, obviously the drone's IP44, but now also the cameras are IP44 as well. And so with an operating temperature of -20 +50, that means that you can fly for longer in lower temperatures. I mean, when I first started, drones were coming out with 30 minutes of flight time. If you flew anywhere near sort of under 10 degrees, to start with, you had to have your batteries under your armpits to warm them up to get it started. And then when they were in the air, because of the speed of obviously the cold making the batteries smaller, basically, it reduces the flight time. So having that sort of that ability to be able to work in all conditions is truly fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, that feature makes it so much safer to operate in those cold temperatures, but also it gives you a bit more confidence when you're flying as well, because it's not just going to kind of run out super quick and come crashing down, which is never ideal.
Absolutely. It's not just the safety side, but it's the peace of mind that you know that it can get the job done. Absolutely. The laser rangefinder, I think, is fantastic. Now, we've got a couple of different post-processing applications where, so what that essentially means is you can identify how far away you're looking at an object or a building, or if you find something. And what that'll give you is an actual coordinate of where that laser is pointed. So for one, you'll be able to identify exactly where it is. But for two, you can actually get a measurement now. So with the likes of COPTRZ or Ava, and I think DJI Pixel D Inspect also does it now. You can actually look at something from, say, 60, 70 up to, it's up to nearly 1,000 meters. You can look at something, and because you know the x-axis, you can work out the y. You can get a really close approximate dimension of the actual crack. So if you're looking at something, you find, say, that there's cracking on a wall, you can actually give a measurement to the end user or the asset owner, and that sort of information is really vital. That's when you can start charging a little bit more money as well. Thermal and visual. I don't want to spoil the party too soon, because we've got a really good video which goes through everything. But in terms of the H20T, how impressed have you been so far, Harry?
Yeah, absolutely love it. I mean, the thermal quality is incredible. I think one of the most exciting things about it is the zoom camera, which I'm not going to go into too much detail about, just because I think we've got some example footage of that coming up later. But to be honest, I was absolutely blown away by that. I think it's incredible. But yeah, in terms of the camera itself, it's just, again, so easy to use for so many different applications.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And on that, let's watch this, and I hope the video quality is okay. Thank you very much for joining me in sunny Leeds. Today we are here with the COPTRZ team, and we are looking at the Matrice 300 RTK and the H20 series. So today's applications are going to be camera for the application solely derived of inspection. Really excited to see how it works in the centre of Leeds here. And we've got some expert piloting from our training team, Harry Crawford. So we're going to look at the key specifications of the drone, all the way from the battery life to the weather restraints, so IP rating, wind resistance, and then all of the functionality that you get from behind the controller. The DJI M300 RTK has been specific. I'm actually just going to pause there, Harry. You mentioned obviously the zoom capabilities. I hope everyone can see this, what we've paused it on, but the ability to actually zoom in from a further distance on an asset where potentially you can't get to. And this will be one of the big things when you're flight planning, and Harry will agree with me there, is sometimes you can't take off from where you want to or where you need to because of certain restraints, certain restrictions, and the ability to, and I'm just going to try and rewind this here, the ability to be able to take off from a distance of maybe sort of 100 meters and then use that zoom camera is truly brilliant. Functionality that you get from behind the controller. The DJI M300 RTK has been specifically brought out into the UAV market for two major. I mean, Harry, that is incredible, isn't it? Application.
Yeah, what I was saying is, what was amazing about that day was when we took off and we started flying around, that structure that we zoomed in on there, we couldn't actually see it on the screen until we started really kind of zooming in. And then by the time we'd got to the full zoom, you could literally read the clock. And I think if you were to look at the raw footage, it actually goes out a lot further than it's showing there. So really incredible.
Rescue and public safety, but also inspection and survey.
Hi, my name's Harry. I'm one of the instructors and pilots here at COPTRZ. I've been flying the M300 here today. The kind of training that you'd need in order to complete a flight like this would be your GVC, and you also might want to enhance that with a flight coaching course, or you could potentially do an inspection course as well as a thermography course. We'd recommend completing at least 4 hours of flight training in your own time before sitting the GVC course, and then enhancing that with further training and potentially flight coaching in order to fly this aircraft. Compared to other drones, I find the M300 really easy to fly. It's got a brilliant GPS system as well as the RTK. It also uses additional optical sensors in order to stabilize itself during flight.
The M300 is really pushing the boundaries of what drones are now doing for the industry. With 6 directions of positioning and sensors, the drone now has more safety capabilities when flying closer to buildings. And now with AI, we have a new, exciting ways to capture and report on data. DJI's latest drone, the M300. Just stop there, Harry. There's the ability to do tripod mode as well, where obviously it goes a lot slower and it goes a lot more easier to control. In your experience, what would that be used for in an application like survey or inspection?
I'm muted again. a lot of the time, when you're doing inspection work and you zoom in quite far and you start moving the aircraft around, you'll lose things really easily, and it's quite hard to keep track on. So by using that tripod mode, it obviously just slows everything down, and it gives you loads of control whilst the camera's in that maximum zoom. So it just makes it a lot easier to collect the data that you need.
Now has 55 minutes of flight time, giving you a peace of mind when you're in the air that you can get the job done, capture all the footage that you require, and get down safely all in one flight. As you can see, we've got the H20T behind me. This comes with 4 sensors. First, it comes with the H20's visual zoom camera. This has got 20 times optical zoom. So when you're doing an inspection from a distance and you can't get as close as you'd like to, maybe due to weather restraints or wind, this gives you the ability to zoom in, as you'll see later on in the video, but also the ability to get detailed analysis of what you're looking at. Having the ability with the rangefinder allows for reporting of a much more detailed scale. Taking that data, you'll be able to zoom in on a location, find a fault, damage, crack, whatever it may be, and take an approximate dimension and location. It has a wide angle, so when you're flying, you can keep an eye of what you're actually looking at in a wider picture. And then also for the H20T, it has a top range 640 resolution, 30 Hertz thermal camera. Perfect for both search and rescue and inspection. This data can then also be transformed into survey requirements and create brilliant, really detailed thermal maps. The main body of the drone also comes with a FPV camera, so you can identify exactly what you're looking at in any sort of scenario. It means that you can have a second pilot operating a slave controller, and they can do all of the fancy filming while you can carry on concentrating on actually flying the drone. This adds to the safety value of the drone, but also allows you to keep an eye on what you're looking at going forward. With the new design of the M300 compared to the M210, the props, as you can see here, are now downward facing. This gives a higher IP rating, but also gives more power when actually taking off. With the ability to hot swap the batteries, this now means you can take one battery out, keep the drone running, keep it filming if required, and change the batteries one at a time. This will mean that you can have constant, continuous footage. Hot swapping the batteries should take no longer than 10 seconds. Fantastic new features also include the ability to spot and track planes which are close in proximity to give you the peace of mind that you need to get lower in your altitude to stay safe. With state-of-the-art gimbal dampeners, the cameras are now even more secure and even more stable. With the whole new Skyport feature, DJI have opened up the cameras to the wider market, allowing for new, exciting technology to now be developed and to be implemented onto the M300, including the likes of the U10 and other spotlight features. Designed for usability, the M300 comes as standard with the Smart Controller Enterprise. This is a fantastic bit of kit, which is high brightness, easy to use, light, and very redundant. Combine that with the RTK license in the dongle compartment, and you've got a full survey solution. The drone overall is built from carbon fiber and a polymer blend, allowing to keep it very lightweight, but also very durable. What you can see when we were actually flying with the drone is we were able to zoom in and capture really high detailed inspections of parts of the building which we were asked to look at. Using both the visual and the thermal, we're able to. The video that you see here probably won't give it justice, but when we were on site, Harry, we were zooming in on some of these bolts and some of the where the welds have been put on, and I mean I've seen the likes of the Z30 before. I was blown away, not just by the data quality, but the stability.
Yeah, I mean, what I was particularly surprised about was just how clear it was in comparison, even to the Z30. I think obviously the zoom's not quite as powerful in the optical, but as soon as it transitions over to the digital zoom, you can get kind of 200 times. And even though it's digital zoom, the quality still seemed to be better and more stable than the Z30, which I was quite surprised about.
Yeah, well, that would be the original Z30. I think it had 4 megapixels, whereas this is 20. So as soon as you do zoom into that 20 times optical, you've still got a 20 megapixel like image to work with. So yeah, can't really be beaten at the moment. We'll watch a little bit more on this, and then we'll try and get some of these questions answered, which I think are going ahead right now. Hotspots, and then zoom in on them with both the laser and the visual camera. This gives us more data, more reliable footage, and in the end, better results for the end customer. Combining all of these safety features and redundancy features, the drone is now faster, safer, and easier to use, giving you a full solution, which is straight out the box and giving you high quality data. Not only is the M300 RTK being adopted by the majority of the armed forces here in the UK, the M300 is now being looked at by environmental firms, oil and gas, wind, solar, and wave as being a really great asset and a full solution. I think that's a really good point to bring up as well. It was how quick out the box it is. In the past, we've seen drones being brought to market, and it's taken time to set up. You've got to calibrate things. You've got to attach different parts. The M300 really is, because I mean, and I guess because DJI coming from a more consumer background, there, the ability and the functionality to just click and play is so good. I mean, Harry, from showing up on site, how quickly could you get it in the air?
I mean, realistically, you'd have to run through kind of like all your checks and stuff, but I'd say you could probably do it within about 5 to 10 minutes. It really is really easy to put together. I mean, even down to the fact that they've redesigned the whole box that the aircraft goes into. So rather than it going in upside down, you have to, like I remember with the M210, you had to pick it out the box and kind of faff around with it because it was all the wrong way around. But they've put it in now so you can just, as soon as you open the box, attach the legs, attach the gimbal, flip it over, unfold it, pop your batteries in, and you're pretty much ready to go.
Yeah, it is really is an easy drone to fly. I was over in Wales a couple of months ago with Game Wildlife Trust. We're doing some fantastic things at the moment with drones, and they're using M300s to find sheep, deer counts, all sorts of really exciting ecology projects. But the big thing for us was we're able to back of a pickup. You basically stick the legs in, pull it out. There's no faffing around with it. Batteries in, controller on, connect it all, and away you go. I mean, for a search and rescue application, fantastic. Inspection as well, really useful. You know, it's just reducing the time on site, reducing the ability to faff around with it, really. So, you know, it's bringing all of those that time wasted down to make you a bit more profitable. You can be on and off site, and especially if it's wet. Christ, you want to be, you know, in and out as quickly as possible. So just to go over a couple of these key features, DJI's first drone to fly to 55 minutes. We talked about the 6 directional sensors, perfect for flying around buildings and anywhere where you want to get close to an asset. The controller is brilliant, so you can have multiple pilots, and it's on the smart control. I mean, we didn't really mention this much, but Harry, what's the in terms of the smart controller? Good, bad, a good thing that they've turned it into a all-in-one. What's your thoughts on that? Yeah,
I think it's a particularly good controller. Really, it kind of goes in line with obviously the smart controller that they released with the DJI Mavic. And they've basically just updated it so you can have all the functionality to operate on the Pilot app. You can do all your pre-planning for your waypoint flying. And then it's got additional softwares that you can kind of plug in and do additional mapping as well. So all in all, brilliant controller. And it's obviously got that hot swap feature for the remote as well, which is something which could have potentially been a bit of a blocker before. Obviously not having batteries that you can swap in and out. But again, you can keep the controller turned on, just change the Crystal Sky battery at the back and it'll keep running. So I think they've really thought about the design of it this time.
Yeah, the internal battery. The one thing for me, and I'd probably be doing a disservice if I didn't mention it, would be the ability to put third-party apps on, because we do get that question a lot. But what DJI recently brought out is an actual attachment, so you can stick an iPad on these controllers now. So the ability to stick an iPad on and connect that to the M300 controller, it's going to give you the ability to download third-party apps for the likes of your mapping, your inspection side of things, which I think is, and we're slowly seeing it, DJI are listening to their customers, they're listening to the industry, they're listening to their partners like us who are saying, look, at the end of the day, it needs to have this functionality. And, you know, I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a massive blocker for a lot of people. So for them to introduce that, it's absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely. So the cameras were IP44, the Matrice 300 IP45, which is brilliant. Obviously, it gives you, a bit of peace of mind that if you are out there and you do get caught out in rain, you are going to be able to bring it back and land it safely. Obviously, the AI systems for smart inspections, and the slides coming up just on that. The H20 series, obviously with the wide, the zoom, and the thermal, truly fantastic. UAV health management system. Now this, I think, is one of the best things about the M300. The ability to stick all your batteries and everything in the suitcase charging station, and then get all of the basically the health and the software updates all to your controller. How useful is that?
Yeah, I mean, even getting the aircraft set up for the first time when you've got the aircraft on different firmware, you need to update all the batteries firmwares. Plugging the remote controller in and just doing it all at the same time saves kind of so much time.
Yeah, it is good. It's one of those things which I think it's just good. Yeah, again, it's just that safety side. It's that giving people peace of mind that I can go out and I can confidently fly. And that's, at the end of the day, when you're not confident, I think that's where a lot of people will go wrong. Mistakes will be made, and we'll start to see. And at the end of the day, we're all about promoting good practice, all about promoting the industry, everybody who is within that. So yeah, I think that's going to be a really cool and exciting thing. The hot swappable batteries we spoke about, brilliant, great addition, not just to the drone but to the controller as well. And then obviously the redundancy to improve safety. Double IMU. It can land on 3 props now, which is an exciting feature. We haven't tested it out just yet. I'm sure Harry is nervously laughing in the background about trying that one out, because I would love to be there. I've seen some videos. It works. Or maybe try it in a field, not filming it the first time. But Harry, your thoughts on the safety sides of everything?
Yeah, I mean, like we've mentioned, there's loads of new safety features to it. I think the improvements there are just brilliant.
Yeah,
I'm not overly excited to test it with 3 props, but we'll see.
Well, it's turning one of the props off. What we're going to have to do, get someone with a gun. I can't see how. Maybe chuck a brick at it from a distance, maybe, but we'll see. They'll probably bounce off. Just on that smart inspection, really good bit of kit. Obviously, live mission recording. Obviously, you can do a mission and then it will record that full flight. So next time you go to do it, so say you're inspecting an asset, you don't even have to go up and fly. You press one button, it'll take off, go to that same position, record all of the GPS locations or the RTK positions if you've got the RTK enabled, and it will go up and it will take that exact same photo. So if you're looking at brickwork on a building, it'll take off and it will integrate in with the camera, so it zooms in and it finds exactly the same brick that you were originally looking at. With the likes of tripod mode, makes it very simple, very easy to do. spot checks as well, basically routine inspections, capturing consistent results, and that obviously goes in with the live mission recording as well, which I've just mentioned there. Waypoint 2.0, brilliant for flight mission planning, and also includes that third-party apps as well, which is obviously going on to the use of using like maybe an iPad on the controller. And then obviously with dual control, you know, in the UK, you've got 500 meters without having an OSC, operational safety case. So having that dual control and be able to swap between pilots can be a workaround for doing those large scale mapping jobs. So really, really cool functionality. We've done some really good videos actually, and I can see Haley hinting at me to bring this up. We did some really good videos with DJI a couple of months ago, and I'd really implore people to go and check those out, because even just using the functionality of the controller, the app, the actual pilot application, it'll really give you a good idea of what is available and what could be done. Because I mean, we're nearly out of time, but we could be talking for hours about that. So so yeah, I mean, I want to get on to some questions. I want to interact with you guys. Finally, and I think this is the final thing, we've got 2 new cameras coming out at the moment. The P1 is hitting the market as we speak. L1 it'll be coming out in the very next couple of weeks, but P1 for the survey side, brilliant 45 megapixel camera, full frame, and when you're doing mapping jobs, it can get the oblique mapping as well, so it can swing side to side. Really impressed with what we've seen so far. We've got a video coming up just to show that, so I'll show you a small snippet of that. The L1, DJI's first look into LiDAR, originally quite an expensive and quite complicated process, but at the same time, fantastic results. The L1 is their first steps into this, and I think it's going to be a real winner. Easy to integrate, easy to use. I think you get 6 months of DJI Terra with it, and it's DJI as well, so it's click and play, away you go, happy days. So we'll quickly just try and play this a short snippet of what a colleague of mine, James Pick, did with the P1, and then we'll get straight on to some questions surrounding not only pricing, but obviously the kit as well. So I mean, this was a huge job, and it's probably, and also if you are looking for the original files for all of these videos, we will be sending them out as well, so you will be able to see this. But this was done in a single flight with the P1 on our trial that we did. So yeah, really cool stuff. So as you can see there, prices are as they are. If you have any questions regarding bespoke packages, bespoke training, you want Harry to come down or myself and do a handover day, really popular actually when there's a few of you. We can add these in, creating a full solution for you guys. But essentially, you're talking a full solution. Harry mentioned it before, probably the best thing we sell for me, apart from the Helios 2, definitely up there being the best thing that we do, because it is the be all and end all. You know, you have the Matrice series, and then you just get different cameras, and it's not one of those drones which is here and gone tomorrow. It's here to stay. It looks good. It works well. We've had 0 issues, which is fantastic, and I can actually swear by that. 0 issues in the 8 months that they've been out. Just really good reviews. So Q&As. Haley, I don't know if I can see them. I'll see if I can bring this up on my screen. Yeah, we've closed that down. So do you want to read them out, or do you want me to read them out? You want to fire away? Yeah. So, Mary Claire, can this be used for archaeological surveying and mapping LiDAR? Yes. With the P1 or even the L1, if you're looking at LiDAR, absolutely. And we also do the LiDAR USAs. And if you're looking at maybe something a little bit bigger like the Quanergy, the M8, the Velodyne series, they are now being integrated with the M300 as well. So if you want that higher level of detail, fly at a higher altitude, that's probably the way to go. But absolutely, without a doubt, it's yeah. I can't say yes anymore. Jeff mentioned obviously about the CE markings for the new regulation. So if you've got the GVC, it doesn't matter. CE markings only require you for the A2 CSC, and at the weight of the M300, you're going to need the GVC to be working around most objects anyway. Harry, do you just want to quickly go into exactly what that means for pilots looking to bring in the M300 who are looking at the GVC as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously it's currently not CE marked, unfortunately. We do get 2 years to operate before there's kind of any effect on that at all. Within that time, obviously with your GVC, you can operate that within the specific category, or you can operate in the open category, obviously in the open category, if you're 150 meters away from people and you're keeping it nice and safe. Just on the CE rating side of things, obviously there's a lot of new aircraft being released at the minute, none of which have got those ratings, and there isn't actually anything on the market at the minute which does. Unfortunately, there's also no indication as when they're going to be coming out, but we will obviously still be able to operate those for quite a long time.
Brilliant. Jonathan has said, have you tested the U10 sensor with the M300? Can it produce methane emission maps for complete sites such as landfill? The answer is yes. We actually trialed it, not with the M300, but the M210 with Severn Trent Water, who are on our drones in energy. So we will be touching base on that later on. I think it's day two tomorrow about 5 o'clock. It's going to be really good. But yes, you can, absolutely. We been quite successful with some of the trials we've done with the U10, finding leaving it a couple of people red-faced with some of what we've been finding. So yeah, some really cool applications coming out, and that's the power of the Skyport as well. Different sensors being integrated on. Just go through a couple more. Can you use FLIR tools? So FLIR tools not on the H20T, but you do have the ability to use DJI thermal analysis tools, which is basically, I'm going to be brutally honest, a bit of a carbon copy. But those files that you are capturing, those images, they are radiometric images from the H20T, so you can get those post-processed in other apps as well. Cost, we've just been through that, so I think we've got that. If anybody is after any costs, my email is circulating somewhere, or just fire it through to info@COPTRZ.com. We'll get something out to you. Didn't really want to spend too much time on sort of packages we do. We want to just be as educational and as informative as possible, because that's what we're here to promote. What software do you use to stitch multiple images and create panoramas? So two different things. Stitching images for the likes of a map, 3D modeling. You're looking at DJI Terra, you're looking at Pix4D, drone deploy as well. But I think leading the way at the moment, especially with the DJI stuff, and we've done some trials with DJI Terra recently. Wow, blown away by what that can do. Some of the detail and some of the quality of the 3D models is just tremendous. And James Pick is doing a surveying summit at 11:45 today. Be sure to have a look at that. And he's also on tomorrow looking at survey with Pix4D 3:45. So really do have a look at that. Sorry if I'm talking a little bit quick. I'm just being pushed for time at the moment. I'll try and slow myself down as much as I can. Everything will be on record as well. So if you do want to, go back and just double check what I have mentioned, yeah, great. I mean, Harry's there to be the slower speaker. I'm here to be the fast and straight out the door. So I think that's pretty much everything in terms of questions. Hayley, have we got any more that are coming through? Or Harry, have you got anything else you just want to mention before we sign off?
I think I've just had a quick glance through everything. I think we've pretty much answered everything there. Obviously, if there is any questions, feel free to kind of ping them across to us afterwards. But yeah, I think we've pretty much covered it there.
Fantastic. I mean, in terms of if you're a new business or you're a business looking to integrate drones into, a magnitude of different applications, I would personally strongly advise on the M300. And I know people are going to say, oh, he's a salesperson, he's looking to get the most money out of us and stuff. But at the end of the day, when you've got an application that requires thermal, you've got an application that requires survey, you've got an application that requires long flight time, weather resistance, having something like the M300, it's a no-brainer. And when you look at price, you're comparing it to stuff which came out maybe 2-3 years ago, and it has come down in price. Nothing's got more expensive. The M300s, as a system, you're talking about $8 grand. Compare that to the 210 RTK when that first came out. That was nearly 10 grand extra. So, I think DJI going in the right direction. They're a company who are bringing some really cool equipment out, and I'd be lying if I said they weren't going to stick around. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of what's available out there, I think that's brilliant, and that's all I've really got to say. So I really appreciate you joining us. We've got some really cool programs coming up later on today and tomorrow. Join me at 4, where we're going to be looking at the Helios 2 with Raptor UAS, one of my favorite companies using the Helios 2. We've got Flyability's Junio there as well, so we're going to be looking at the new software and also looking at a couple of applications which have really caught our eye over the last 6 months. Harry, really appreciate your time today. Joining us from home. I know it's difficult getting you in the office sometimes, but thank you very much for joining me.
No problem. Thank you very much.
And great flying the other day. Yeah, can't stress that enough. It was textbook, everything to the book. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. And yeah, have a great day. Stay on. Next, we have got Surveying Summit, the Phase 1 boys. We've got James from Phase 1. We've got Buckingham's Group, Precision Air Surveys. I'm actually going to watch that because it's going to be a really good one, especially with the Phase 1, which can be integrated with the M300 coming up in a couple of months. So, yeah, I mean, I'll let James give you that bit, but to spoil it, that's going to be incredible. Have a great day, have a great week, and we'll hopefully hear from you soon. Thank you very much for watching.
Cheers, guys.